Hello and welcome. My name is Dominic Frisby and today's piece is called The UK Investor, Protected from Profits Since 2020. How the FCA helped inflate Britain's Bitcoin Treasury bubble. Here's what's going on and what to do next. So we have a huge speculative bubble on our hands and it's popping. Phase 1 has already popped. What's more, this bubble is full of chancers, charlatans and chief executive officers. The Mail has got onto the story. That is not a good sign. If I told you that 10 days ago the price of a share you just bought would rise from 6p to 40p in a week, you'd be happy. 6p to 90p. And then again, if I told you on Monday that something you owned was going to drop by 60% the following day, you'd be pretty unhappy. But that's the kind of volatility we're seeing in the UK listed Bitcoin treasury companies. 6p to 90p to 20p. Nobody said it would be easy. That's Coincilium, by the way, that did that. Today we're going to try and make some sense of what's going on. We have a comprehensive list of all the UK companies jumping on this bandwagon and some foreign companies too. Most importantly, we consider what to do next. So let's start with a timely reminder. Owning a speculative Bitcoin treasury company is not the same as owning Bitcoin. One is a speculation, the other is the future money system of the world. Bitcoin treasury stocks do not equal Bitcoin. I hope that's clear. Now, a rant. The Great British FCA crypto farce. So the price of Coincilium, ticker symbol COIN on Aquis this morning, it's gone in one day. When I was looking at it, it went from 60p to 30p. It doubled and it halved.
Nice.
And this situation might mean the beloved UK market makers are creaming enough money to keep them in caviar and truffles and champagne for this foreseeable future, but the ordinary retail investor is getting hammered. In the course of 7 days, Coincilium has gone from 6p to 90p to 20p. The Bitcoin price, meanwhile, is pretty much unchanged. This situation is almost entirely a creation of the FCA with its decision to protect UK investors from the dangers of cryptocurrency. That protection began in 2020 when Bitcoin was $5,000. Today, it's $120,000. That's a $115,000 per coin increase, more than 2,000% that UK investors were protected from. Remember UK Chancellor Rishi Sunak spinning his Britcoin BS. It's my ambition to make the UK a global hub for crypto asset technology, and the measures we've outlined today will help ensure that firms can invest, innovate and scale up in this country. What a load of flannel. We want to see the businesses of tomorrow and the jobs they create here in the UK, and by regulating effectively, we can give them the confidence they need to think and invest long term. He literally said all of this. This is part of our plan to ensure the UK financial services industry is always at the forefront of technology and innovation. Nobody told the FCA. How was any of that even remotely possible when the FCA had banned the sale of crypto derivatives to UK consumers and effectively regulated crypto asset technology out of existence in the UK? Did the two government departments even speak before he trotted out that rollocks? Of course they didn't. They're different departments. Why should they speak? Why should they coordinate? It's insane. It's as though the UK government is inherently incompetent. Remember UK Chancellor George Osborne publicising himself buying Bitcoin at an ATM. The FCA made ATMs illegal. Remind me, who voted for the FCA, or indeed Ofcom or Ofsted? Why do these bodies have such extraordinary power? It's enough to make you a libertarian. In any case, we now have this situation of extraordinary pent-up demand built up over many years, with hundreds of billions of pounds, if not trillions, in ISAs and pensions wanting exposure. And the result is this insane volatility in UK Bitcoin Treasury companies. Smarter Web Company went from 2.5p to above 600p, giving it a market cap over £1 billion. It just had 45 million in assets. 45 million and a market cap of £1 billion. Great work, FCA. Today it's sitting now at about 300p, so it's £500 million. Its assets have gone up. Japan had similarly prohibitive anti-Bitcoin regulations and thereby created the market leader in this second wave of Bitcoin treasury companies, which is Metaplanet, ticker symbol 3350. MicroStrategy was the leader in phase one. Pretty much all the treasury shitcodes are now down about 75%. Is that it? Game over? Or was that just phase one? I think it was just phase one, but we'll see. I've seen this play out many times over the years. I saw it with uranium shitcodes, 2006, gold junk codes, silver rubbish codes, graphite fly-by-nights, helium hot air codes, and more. It doesn't take a genius to work out where all this is going. A lot of people are going to make a lot of money. A lot more are going to lose a lot of money. And there's a lot of chances and opportunists getting in this game. These things aren't necessarily going to zero because they're going to have Bitcoin in their balance sheet. But when Bitcoin has one of its biennial corrections, they're going to get crucified. And a lot of these companies will not have the nerve to hodl because they're not true believers. If you're going to invest in one of these companies, it's got to be true believers on the management. I think that's one of the most important things in a Bitcoin treasury company is that the management are genuine true believers. We're going to see a new, even though a load of companies are going to die, we're also going to see a new corporate model emerge as a result. It's .com basically, but which company is going to be the Amazons and Microsofts, and who's going to be Pets.com and ClickMango? Every day I'm hearing news of another company pivoting. Who invented that bloody word, pivoting? Anyway, into a Bitcoin treasury company. It's all happening very quickly. A lot more are listing. Yeah, I mean, I keep saying this. I'm of the view that management need to be true believers. If they're chances and opportunists, they're going to get found out in a Bitcoin correction. Now, there is just, as I say, there's so many companies getting in on the game. I'm getting phone calls all the time, especially in the UK and Europe, where there's this pent-up demand. And I put a link on a list of all these companies on my Substack. There's a link to it in my description. But these companies include SWC, the Smarter Web Company, Coincilium, ticker symbol COIN, BTC.L, this is a David Lenegas venture which floated in January as a Bitcoin miner. Now it's changing its name to the London Bitcoin Company. That went to 55p, now it's at 10p. It's got about 65 Bitcoins. BMV, Bluebird Mining Ventures. Sunday Bar PLC, ticker symbol SBAR on AIM. That's an AIM-listed AI agent company. It's just announced a Bitcoin treasury pivot and a 500 grand retail share offer at 11p. It has no Bitcoins, currently 10.5p, but the chairman is Argo blockchain founder Jonathan Bixby. Pros, that's a good sign. Pros, it's only just getting in on the game. Cons, it's AIM. Vaults Capital PLC, formerly a helium gas explorer, Helium Ventures. It raised 4 million at 43p. It's now at 14p. 3 days later, you know when you've been tangoed.
The big orange fella ran in from the left, and he gives him a good old slapping.
It just illustrates the bite and buzz of real oranges in tango.
Yes, Ralph, super taste sensation, smashing drink, lovely.
You know where you've been tangoed.
It owns about 10 Bitcoins. I like this one. Panther Metals PLC, ticker symbol PALM, PALM, a mining exploration play, and it will fund its mining assets with money borrowed against its Bitcoin treasury. And that led to its shares surging and then falling. It got to 110, now it's at 64. I don't know how many Bitcoin that one has. Mendel Helium, another helium company, raised money to pursue the treasury strategy dream. Got to 6p, now it's at 2p. Amazing AI, that raised 123 grand from its directors at 0.5p each when the stock was 4p. Nice work if you can get it. The CEO, Paul Matheson, took about a third of that. I can see why. And that's now back down below 2p. LQWD in Canada, that's quite an interesting one. It's got about 180 Bitcoins, I think. Hamac Gold raised 2.5 million to fund Bitcoin treasury activities alongside its gold exploration. It went to 280, now it's at 170 a few days later. There's PR1, Priority, Intel Group, CYK, AMOI, TAO, Tau Alpha, that's an interesting one, CEL, HRIP, Hot Rocks. There are so many. It's a fast-moving space. It is difficult to keep up. how to play the mania or how not to. It's a speculative mania, folks. It may just be that the bubble has already popped. It may be that that was just phase one and there's further to go. I know you like certainty from me, but I just don't know. Nobody knows. If you're inexperienced, you're a novice, you can't tolerate that horrible feeling of losing your entire shirt, I would not recommend getting involved. Just own Bitcoin instead. Don't feed the animals, as they say. But if you're determined to get involved, the secret is to be as early stage as possible. It's like a pyramid scheme, I'm sorry to say. The earlier you're in, the better your chance of getting your initial stake out, which you absolutely have to do if you get the opportunity to. And then you leave yourself bulletproof on the trade. If what you buy starts rising, like the action we saw a couple of weeks ago when everything went bananas, be sure to get your stake out and then scale your sells. You won't catch the top. If you sell and it carries on rising, you'll be cross with yourself for selling. But if it collapses and you didn't sell, you'll be even angrier with yourself. Just scale your sells and enjoy the experience. And also watch your position sizing. A lot of old timers are saying how obvious a bubble this is. It is. The old timers have also, though, got the hump that they missed out. So there's that to consider too. A bubble is a bull market in which you don't have a position and all of that. But they do have a point. Much better, as I keep saying, is just to own Bitcoin. But the FCA, you can't. So you have to go for Bitcoin Treasury companies if you're doing it in your SIP or whatever. I've got my Coincilium from a lower price. The original stake is now off the table, so I'm just letting that one ride. There are new ones listing all the time, as I say. Another one I own is called Semler Scientific, and I met with Eric Semler, the CEO at BTC Prague, and he seems to be a sort of relatively low risk way of playing this theme, in that the market cap of his company roughly corresponds with its actual Bitcoin holdings and the value of his medical equipment services company put together. So in a downturn, it should be one of the better ones to own, as Semler was keen to point out to me. But in the up market, it's not seeing the gains seen by the Treasury markets in companies in Japan and the UK. There's not the same pent-up demand in the US. It's a slightly older story. You've just got to get in these stories as early as you can. Twice last week, Bitcoin broke to new highs and Semler was down or flat. So the stock's not behaving well. I'm going to give it a bit longer, but I'm a bit frustrated. I mean, you know, it's been okay, but it hasn't been the enormous winner that some of these others have been. By the way, you don't want to be holding Smarter Web Company in about February next year, because all its warrants at 2.5p come free trading and there'll be huge selling pressure. But we'll worry about then. Anyway, thanks very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like it, please share it, all that stuff. It helps. Please follow me, subscribe to my Substack, links to everything below. And if you want to read my brilliant book about Bitcoin, I will put a link to that as well. Thank you very much. Until next time, goodbye.